Before we start talking about Grab, it is important to understand what the term monopoly means. Monopoly refers to a situation where any firm or business has the exclusive possession of the supply and trade of a commodity or a service in any given economic sector. While such a situation implies high revenue and profits for the monopolistic firm, it can have adverse effects upon the consumers who might now be exploited. Grab is a Singapore based company which offers ride hailing, ride sharing, food delivery, and logistics services. Though the company was established in 2012 as a taxi company, it soon started offering a multitude of other services to its customers. Grab now operates in 8 different Southeast Asian countries with the main purpose of making the lives of its customers a lot more simpler. Grab operates on an extremely simple and user friendly platform. The application allows the customer to send their booking request to the drivers within the 3-kilometer radius. The application then allocates the nearest driver to the customer, who can then view the entire profile of the driver, including his or her name, photo, phone number, etc. The application also allows the customer to track their drivers and get to know their estimated time of arrival at the pickup point. In other words, the Grab application has successfully created a simple yet effective platform which connects customers with drivers and makes the entire experience of cab hailing quick, comfortable, and efficient. It has evolved a long way and is now one of the most established and prominent companies in Singapore. While Grab has various advantages to offer, it is necessary to understand that the company has now begun to exploit its customers to a large extent. Only until a few months ago, the ride-hailing industry in Singapore was being dominated by Grab and Uber. Both of these companies are two dominant firms in this industry and had been competing in a state of perfect competition in Singapore. However, in April of this year, Grab signed a deal with Uber whereby it required the latter company's Southeast Asian operations. Grab is now the largest and the most dominant ride-hailing company in Singapore. It has gained a majority in this industry of Singapore, which is currently worth at 941 million US dollars. This alarming piece of information was made official when the CCCS, Competition and Consumer Commission of Singapore, released a statement saying that the Grab Uber deal has led to substantial eroding of competition in the ride hailing market. The CCCS has also revealed that the acquisition infringes upon Singapore's Competition Act as the company now owns 80% of the market share in the industry. A monopoly usually adversely affects the consumers. As a part of CCCCS investigation findings, the watchdog has highlighted that Grab has increased its prices since it took over its closest and largest competitor, Uber. To be more precise, the fares have increased by 10 to 15% on average. This puts a financial strain upon the consumers, who are now forced to spend more of their income upon their daily commutations. CCCS has also received complaints not only from riders but also from drivers, all of whom have been complaining about Grab fares and commissions. The investigation also brings to light the changes made by Grab to its loyalty program, Grab Rewards, such as reducing the number of points earned by riders per dollar spent, reducing the frequency and quality of incentives and promotions offered to Grab drivers, and also imposing unfair penalties upon the drivers. Since Grab has monopolized the market, riders and drivers have also been expressing irritation and dissatisfaction with the app. Giving specific examples, customers complain about how the app told them that the taxi was many minutes away, and then after a few seconds, it would send them a notification that the taxi has arrived. The drivers, meanwhile, have complained about how the app has been failing to estimate the most accurate route to the pickup point, which has resulted in frequent cancellations and lower wages for the drivers in turn. While during a perfect competition, Grab had numerous incentives to upgrade its services and satisfy its customers to a great extent, all such incentives have now been lost in the newly formed monopolistic market. Grab now does not fear any strong opposition to its business in Southeast Asia, and more precisely Singapore, which has caused it to continue its operations at the expense of consumer satisfaction. Though Grab's monopolistic nature is having negative short-term impacts upon its consumers and drivers, it can also impact its own business in the long run. In a survey conducted in Singapore by HubSpot Research, 80% of the respondents said that they would stop doing business with the company because of poor consumer experience. The exploitative measures being adopted by Grab can negatively impact its business in the long run by when customers would stop using Grab as a result of poor experiences. To worsen the issue for Grab, the Singaporean government is now inviting new startup companies to enter the ride hailing industry in Singapore. In the long run, dissatisfied Grab consumers would have the option to switch to these new companies or options. Therefore, Grab's monopoly can potentially affect the company itself too. Analyzing the current situation, it can be seen how all the major stakeholders involved in the Grab business model are losing out because of the company's monopoly. For the betterment of the society and the overall economy, there are a variety of solutions that are being implemented by the CCCS. The Singapore government has ordered Grab to maintain its pre-merger pricing algorithm and driver commission rates and remove exclusivity arrangements with taxi fleets and drivers. The Singaporean government is also inviting new taxi companies to start operations in Singapore in the hope that they would challenge the dominance of Grab and distribute the market share amongst various firms. For example, Indonesia's Gojek, another ride-hailing firm, is planning to expand its services into Singapore. As residents of Singapore, we can also opt to use a highly efficient public transportation of the island country. By increasing the demand for public transportation, the collective use of Grab can be reduced, which in turn would limit their monopoly and influence over the transportation and ride hailing industry in Singapore.